Is switching to a more powerful carry gun in the winter a good idea, or does it come with some unnecessary risks? Hey everybody, Yankee here. Something a lot of people do in the winter is they switch their carry gun. They decide to carry something bigger, more powerful, maybe more capacity, because they can. In the winter, you're wearing more clothes. It's possible to conceal a larger, more powerful firearm. You don't have to make the same compromises you make in the summertime to conceal a gun on your person. So in the winter, a lot of people switch. Now, a viewer the other day asked me, is this a good idea? Or does it come with extra risk? And there was a couple of different things they were worried about. They were worried about the legal implications of choosing a more powerful gun in the winter. Because one of the reasons we'll do that is because, not only are we wearing more clothes, but other people are wearing more clothes. And a caliber that might have been perfectly effective against someone wearing a tank top might be less so against someone who's wearing multiple layers, especially if some of those layers are like heavy wool or something. So they're worried that a prosecutor will say, you were afraid that your gun wouldn't be fatal when you shot them with it, so you went to a more powerful gun to make sure you can kill them. Well, that's kind of a fallacy argument. You don't really face that in court because here's the reality. If it's a good shoot, it's a good shoot. And anytime you fire a gun at someone who's threatening your life or your safety, you have to be aware that you might kill them because you're going to stop the threat, which means you're going to aim dead center on that target, fire that gun. And we don't play stupid like, I had no idea that could harm them. That's a trick that the left, the anti-gunners have played on pro-gun people to try to make them worry about things that aren't really real. That's not really something you're going to have to worry about. So I really wouldn't worry about the legal aspect of, you're carrying a bigger gun. Because it's really not that you're carrying a more dangerous gun in the winter. It's just that you're not making the compromises you made during the summer. Because if that argument's true, well, then when you're carrying in the summertime, where you're carrying a lesser powerful gun, a smaller gun, well, does that mean you're less wanting to hurt someone? No, it just means that you're making compromises in the summer that you don't have to make in the winter. So the legal aspect of it is just something people like to blabber on about when there's really no basis behind it. So go ahead and change to a more powerful gun if you want to in the winter. It makes sense. It makes sense to carry a better gun when you can more easily conceal that gun. Like I said, you don't have to make the compromises you make in the summertime. Now, another concern they had is this whole, beware the man with one gun because he probably knows how to use it thing that you hear from a lot of people. And that's always been kind of a ridiculous thing to me. It's the whole notion that if someone only shoots one gun, they're going to be so good with it. Well, now, if someone only has one gun and they don't shoot it all that much, well, they're probably not going to be that great with it. Someone who has 50 guns and shoots 5 or 6 of them a lot, they're probably going to be better with those 5 or 6 guns than that one guy is with the one he hardly practices with. So it's really about how you practice and how you train yourself to use your guns. I like to say I train myself to shoot, not to shoot a specific gun. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. One thing you might want to do if you are switching from one gun to another gun in the wintertime is make sure it's a similar manual of arms. Like, don't have a gun in the summer that you just pull the trigger, and then in the winter have one that has a manual safety, because you're training with that one gun all summer, and then you get to wintertime, now you might forget to take that safety off when you need it most. So kind of stick to the similar manual of arms. Keep it to where you've got a similar movement every time you draw and prepare that gun to fire. That's the biggest advice I would give you. But like I said, in the winter, you don't have to make those compromises you make in the summertime. So why would you? Carry a bigger, more powerful, more capable gun. One that is more likely to be able to deal with the threats you'll face in the winter. People wearing heavier clothing. In the war, there were lots of cases of guys being saved from small arms fire because their thick wool jackets were wet and slowed down or stopped, in some cases, bullets. So that's something you got to take into consideration if you're being threatened in the winter. Are you going to be able to have an effective caliber? So switching to something bigger in the winter is actually going back to what you should carry always. Your winter carry gun should be your baseline carry gun, the gun you think is best to stop threats. And then your summer gun is actually the compromise. The winter gun is not an increase of the summer. The summer is a decrease of your standard carry gun, if that makes any sense to anyone. So, as I said, the legal aspect of going to a more powerful gun in the winter, that's pretty much non-existent. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just make sure you're involved in a good shoot. Don't be a jerk. Don't be an asshole. Don't look for trouble. Only respond if trouble finds you and you're actually in danger. You know, you can't easily get away, all these things. If you do all those things, it's not really going to matter what was in your hand, what tool you had in your hand. Whether you bash someone's brain in with a ball bat as they come at you with a knife, or you shoot them. It's going to be a similar outcome there. So keep that in mind. And whatever guns you use, shoot them, practice with them. I always make a point that every time I go down to my range, I shoot at least a few rounds from my carry gun. And you should probably do the same thing. And like I said, if you're really worried about it, if you really believe that beware the man with one gun thing, just make sure your guns have similar manuals of arms to where you're doing the same movement. The only thing is maybe the shape's a little different, the size is a little different, and the weight's a little different. Things you won't notice when you're under duress, trust me. Make sure those things are similar though, how you actually activate the gun, how you get the gun ready to fire. If it's just pull it out of your holster and pull the trigger, make sure that's the way all your guns do. If it's pull it out of your holster, remove the safety, well, make sure that's how all your guns do. However, if you're trained for that and then you switch to a gun that doesn't have a safety, so what if you strum your thumb along the side and don't release a safety? Unless, of course, that makes you stop, makes you like, oh, I don't feel the safety, I don't think I can fire. Well, then that'd be a problem. But if you're just one of those people that thumbs that safety and fires, that probably won't be a problem either. You just don't want to put extra roadblocks in your way with one gun than you did with another gun, because those roadblocks might really get in your way when you're under duress. So if you do those things and you keep those things in mind, switching your gun from summer carry to winter carry isn't just safe. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Spectamus fructus vis et non